Hey everyone, welcome to Chat with Sandy and Karen. I'm Karen Jackson and my co-host is,
Sandy Banso.
and we are so excited to have Jessica Reed with us today. She is our tech sister from, let's see, Kentucky teacher from, what is your, what's your handle? Oh, Kentucky girl in Alabama. There we
It
go.
is. It was before I knew tech education Twitter existed, and I used to talk smack about other basketball and football teams because I'm a Kentucky graduate. I clearly do not do that now.
Okay.
But at one point I did.
That is so interesting. I'm glad we got that on tape. That's pretty good. Well, our topic today, as always, is ed tech and education, and just as if you were sitting down after work with some pals and just chatting. So, Jessica, we're happy to have you, and you can talk about your project or what's going on in life or whatever you want.
Okay. I guess I'll talk a little bit about myself. I am Jessica Reed. I am married to my husband, Robbie. We actually just celebrated 10 years the other day of being like boyfriend, girlfriend. Our 7-year wedding anniversary is coming up. That's as long as he's been in college because he went all the way to law school. I just think it's funny. I have my background's elementary ed and special ed, and then I have my EDS instructional technology. And when I did that, it just awoke in like this love I had no idea existed. But of course, I did my ed tech stuff before the pandemic hit, so it was like perfect timing in my little area because I know a lot of stuff. Along with a friend of mine, we actually do PD for our school, and I love to present at conferences. Would eventually love to maybe be a keynote somewhere, but I'm kind of in that odd world between special ed and ed tech. Like, there's not really a clear defined merger. So I'm in the process of like, do I pursue more special ed stuff or do I do ed tech? You know what I mean? Like, there's not a clear definition, but I think I've presented like 17 times so far this school year or since January. So I talk way too much. Maybe that's why I'm a teacher. I'm a Google for Education trainer, Google for Education, whatever the new terminology is, innovator. And that if you've never done any type of the innovator process, that's like the coolest to me, my coolest certification I ever have, because I don't have to renew it like you do the trainer and everything else. And there's not many of those. It's a very like select group. So I didn't actually think I was going to make it. And so when I did, that was like the coolest thing I've ever gotten to experience. And getting to go to Google was super cool. That was the first time I've ever gone to New York and any of that. Yeah, so I teach 6th through 8th grade ELA, and I do inclusion. So that's pretty much it.
That sounds a lot, though. So it's amazing what you do.
Yes.
So talk about
go ahead.
I was going to talk about your innovation project.
I will. Okay, so when you do your innovation application, you have to come up with a how might we statement, and you have to make a video and all that fun stuff. And my how might we was talking about how might we effectively have teachers who are in the general ed classroom and the special ed classroom collaborate together to come up with better inclusion for students. Because I feel like as an inclusion teacher, and I've been both, I've been a general ed and I've been a special ed now. I've been special ed a lot longer than I have been a general ed, but I have background in both. And I think the biggest problem that you have when you have co-teaching, collaboration co-teaching, a lot of times they're like simultaneously used in the same sentence. There is a difference. Collaboration can be between anybody. Co-teaching is really between two teachers or a teacher and a para or an aide or wherever you are. And it's really important because I think a lot of people forget that IEPs, individual education plans, are legal documents. Like when I write them, I was reading the IEP I wrote the other day compared to one I wrote last year. My IEP is much better this year than it was ever before, because when you write an IEP, you actually have to have the documents. Like you have to prove why this person needs those services. Why does this person need small group resource? Why is that the LRE, least restrictive environment? And so I think sometimes when people get in a co-teaching situation, they forget that a group of people determined for that student that was the best teaching situation. And so an IEP is a legal document. I don't want to go to court. I don't. My husband's an attorney. I get to hear about court all the time. I recently got a speeding ticket, and I'm terrified because I'm going to have to go to court. He's going to represent me. Of course, the guy who I got the ticket from is like the judge's brother. I mean, we're in a little town. He was a state trooper. And it was my fault completely. I was going like 91. And it was like 6:30 in the morning trying to go to school. On a side note, I was listening to a podcast by Dateline. Keith Morrison, very distracting. Very distracting. It was about that crazy murder with the mommy dearest, with the girl who she's married the husband 5 times. She's been married 5 times, and her kids went missing in Yellowstone. Anyway, if you're a Dateline person, or if you're not, yes. Okay. The podcast is so much better to listen to him. Yes. Okay. There's a whole podcast series called Mommy Dearest.
Oh, wow.
Or Mommy Doomsday. Mommy Doomsday. And then they just came out one called Kill or something. And I'm listening to that one now, and I've got my cruise control going in the mornings, so I don't get pulled over. But he pulled me over. And he was not a good word. And of course, I'm not going to cry because I was like, yes, sir, I did it. And I called my husband, and I was like, I just got pulled over, blah, blah, blah. And of course, I got pulled over still in Fort Payne, where we live. And he was like, who'd you get pulled over by? And I said, so-and-so. And he was like, really, Jessica? I said, what? He was like, that's so-and-so's brother. And of course, he's like the one cop that shows up to court. Like, he actually shows up
he takes it seriously.
And he was like, really? A state trooper? And I was like, it's not like I was seeking out who can pull me over today. I was just trying to go to work, honestly. But so anyway, that's beside the story. That's just a funny little anecdote. Going to court is not fun. And especially when you have education stuff, because a lot of times, and I'm sure y'all experience this, or you've seen this, a lot of times teachers forget why we're in the classroom. We're in the classroom to work with kids. We're not in the classroom to be like their best buddy, or like be mean girl from high school because we weren't the cool kid in high school, like any of that kind of stuff. We have to figure out how the best way for them to learn. And as a team, and usually the team is going to represent, you're a general ed teacher, a regular ed teacher, the parents, sometimes the kid, depending on how old they are. In middle school, usually, although my kids have chosen not to come because they would rather go to class. And then you have your LEA, which is your principal, or someone who is an administrator. And so we all come together and we talk about this kid, and we talk about what is the best way for this child to learn. And so co-teaching is an option. And so when you have a co-teaching situation, it's like a marriage. It is. I've been in a co-teaching marriage with my friend Nikki. Her last name is Wright. I'm Reed. We're Read and Write. We have a hashtag. We have shirt. We teach ELA together. And when we teach together, you can't tell who's the general and who's the special ed teacher, but it's really, really good. You know what I mean? Like, it's a very good situation. So I don't want to divorce her. But now, when I was in public school, probably about 6 years ago, this is before my daughter, I just moved here. I was in a situation with an 8th grade teacher who did not want me in her room. She did not want me in her room. But magically, when our principal came in, or the superintendent came in, we were best buddies. And we did everything together, and it was just magical. But it got to a point to where, like, she talks about me to other teachers. She never talked to me directly unless I confronted her, which I don't confront people. So that was mind-blowing to me. I taught an English lesson on Edgar Allan Poe. He is my absolute favorite to teach, especially Halloween, because there's so many cool things you can do with him. And he's like the gothic romanticism and all that good stuff. She embarrassed me in front of the kids, telling me I taught it wrong, like in front of the kids, like called me out. Like there's a Stevie Nicks song about one of his poems, Annabelle Lee. Anyway, I used the song because I thought it was cool to bring in audio. You know, like I just try to do different things. She told me I did it wrong and that I needed to go sit back down. I was like,
Oh,
long story short, I left the school system because I couldn't. I was like, I'm worth more than that. Like, I'm not doing this. So you know, you're gonna have an opposite of it's gonna be great or it's gonna turn out awful, or you're gonna have middle of the road. And so what my book is, so long story short, what my book is about it's called The Collaborative Prenup, and the idea is where we're going to talk about co-teaching and what that actually looks like. And I use a lot of research from Maryland, Friend, and Cook. Friend and Cook are like the gurus of collaboration and co-teaching. If you've ever taken any type of special education class, I guarantee you read an article by them or you read their book. Maryland Friend she speaks all the time. My mom actually met her a couple of years ago. My mom did her dissertation on collaboration in the classroom. And my mom had like a fangirl moment. It was really funny. You're such a dork. My mom was a high school special ed teacher before she retired. And so anyway, long story short, I ended up signing a contract with EduMatch, which is Sarah Thomas and this fantastic group of people. Yes. And the book is more about like collaboration, what that looks like, some ways for it to work, co-teaching, what are the 5 different styles, how can you make that work? And then we get to the meat of it, and the actual collaborative prenup. And the idea is that you and your partner are going to, because co-teaching is like a marriage, you guys are going to sign a prenup, basically detailing every single thing from grading to bathroom, like, because you know the kids play you off of each other.
Yeah.
To discipline. Who's going to contact which parent, or who's going to do what in the Google Classroom. I mean, like anything that you can think of, because you want it just all to lay out. So sometimes it feels like it's more like a post-nup, you know, where like after you get married, this is what happens.
Yeah.
But the prenup is more catchy to me. But everything is filled out. It's a document that you sign. Oh, and then your administrator signs it, so everybody's aware, everybody has a copy. So when you go throughout the school year, if there's a problem that persists, you pull that back out. And you talk about, well, you know, you said you would do this. I mean, as elementary as that sounds, some teachers can be so petty with each other that it just doesn't, if you have it laid out, because what happens with the kids when they know you don't like each other, they just grab some popcorn and sit in the back and watch the show.
Yeah.
And play against each other. Oh, but she said, oh, he said.
Mm-hmm. That is so important. I love what you said about like lining it up ahead of time, because and I want to say this because sometimes there's a co-teach situation where there, like you said, there's an aide and a teacher. But when you have a fully fledged teacher and a fully fledged teacher, they have to have an agreement, or else, like, does the special ed teacher have the authority to teach the regular ed students? You know, or am I supposed to just work in this? You know, I interpret everything the real teacher says to my special ed students. You know, I've seen both those situations, and it's wonderful that you you just throw it out there and you have those difficult conversations before they're necessary.
Well, I think the biggest thing with one of the biggest misconceptions of co-teaching is that that the special ed teacher or even the parapro is just there for those kids. Not necessarily. my name as a special ed teacher is still going to be on that testing. I mean, and we all know testing's a joke this year. Like, come on, let's all test during the worldwide pandemic. Why not? I mean, our testing starts next week, called the milestones. I'm not too worried. I didn't even do well on my SATs, and I'm fine. I didn't. I got through college just fine.
You lived.
You know, I hate it when a teacher's like, "Well, they're your kids." No, technically, boo, they're yours too.
Oh,
you know, you want the kids to, yeah. And my other gripe when a teacher has a parapro, like I know it's a different situation for like kindergarten, but when you have a special ed parapro in the classroom, they're not there to run your copies. They're specifically in your room to help assist and do all that kind of stuff. Like they're not like your personal guinea pig, which I have not experienced that this year. I mean, I've actually been a parapro before. It was very humbling because I didn't know all that they did. It took me down like 4 notches, if that makes sense. Because you don't get paid anything. I mean, clearly you don't.
No.
And the way my teacher talked to me was just like awful. I mean, like anyway, that's
sometimes it can be disrespectful. Yeah.
It's like, I'm not your assistant. I mean, like you are their assistant, but not really. Like I'm there for the kids, not you.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's an interesting process because when you start to like really break down every single thing that you think of in the classroom, the list can go on and on and on.
Yeah.
I mean, like how you're even going to handle discipline is a big issue.
Yeah, that's true. That's true because it's going to happen.
You know, are your teaching self?
Yeah.
Like, do you yell at kids or do you pull the kids out in the hallway? You know, it's like even simple stuff like that.
Yeah. And they may have students with an IEP may have a behavior plan, or that you have to follow certain protocols that you have to follow. Like you said, legal document. In Texas, we have behavior plans as well. I don't know if it's the same.
We do.
Oh,
we do, because I just wrote another one for a student for 3 years in a row, and I'm over his data. 8 hours for an IEP.
Yeah. For one student. Yeah. Wow.
And what's even funnier is nobody's going to look at it, but I know it's done, so I feel better about myself.
Well, next year or his next teacher may look at it. I don't know if that's allowed. Sometimes it's not allowed.
They are, yes, ma'am.
But yeah, so that's a good. It's good that you're documenting things and saying, "Hey, we tried this and this worked," or "We tried this and we're hoping this works." This is the 3rd time we've had to change this plan. We're hoping it works.
Or he's got it anyway. That's beside the point. Middle schoolers, never a dull moment. Like that's like, I don't. Yeah.
Trying to figure it out. Yeah.
Well, your project, it seems so exciting.
It is. I mean, it's my own fault. It's not completely finished. I took on a gifted endorsement and I took on dyslexia endorsement because in the state of Georgia, for you to like teach other things, you either can take a test or you can go through the endorsement process. And I've always wanted the gifted endorsement. I don't know necessarily if I'll get to teach gifted, but it's been very interesting to really see how to, because my thought process was, what if we have someone who is double labeled? What if they're special ed and gifted? We don't have anybody to deal with that. And then the dyslexia has been very interesting just because I didn't really know. I mean, it's not labeled as a disability here yet. I feel like that's eventually going to happen because there's so many more things coming out now. I don't know if you know who Nadine Gilkinson is. She's on Twitter. She is a Google innovator as well. Her project was to deal with dyslexia because she has 2 children that have it. She is a really cool resource. I've got her stuff on one of my presentations. If you don't follow her on Twitter, you need to. She is amazing. Like I want to be like her when I grow up. Like I'm not that cool tech. Like I don't make good presentations. Like I can talk, but like the aesthetic and all that, it's amazing what she can do. So, But it's been very
Oh.
interesting. Plus, I do way too much stuff, but that's my own fault. I don't say no.
Well, that's the thing that the people I met through the innovator and trainer and educator process, they're all excited about education. And that's what I loved about it, is that I thought, wow, here are people like me. We just get excited talking about trends and what's working and what's going on in schools. So that was very exciting for me to meet up with a bunch of people like that.
Like you finally find your people. You're like, okay, I'm not the only crazy one. Everything's a certain way,
Yeah, exactly.
Another question. So Jessica, so one thing both Karen and I like doing is stalking our guests, trying to see, their hidden past. But I mean, you're sharing everything with us anyway, your speeding ticket.
Which my mother-in-law does not know about. That's why I waited till she was done.
She's probably not watching on YouTube right now, so I think you're safe.
She doesn't know how to do YouTube. But she can do an Apple iPad. She doesn't do YouTube. She can stalk you on Facebook though. She's really good at it.
Well, sometimes you just got to. I mean, you got to find out about people.
Yes.
So I'm going to put Nadine's Twitter profile in the chat. Just need to find it.
So you stalked me. What did you see?
I know. I was just going to say, tell me, how many badges do you have?
Oh my God, I don't even know.
How many?
I don't even know. And I used to be upset. Like your email signature, you could do all those certifications and like post all the badges. Mine got to a point where it was just so like massive. At this point, I think I only have my Nearpod Pioneer because I'm a pioneer. And I have my trainer, my innovator, on my email signature. And I'm Brain Pop. That sounds awful. I think I've lost count. I think at one point, I just wanted to get as many badges as I could because I kept seeing all these people on Twitter because I was like, I can do that. And then there's so many different programs and there's so many new programs that keep coming out with different things. Like I want to learn more about Moat. I want to learn more. My kids have been playing Blooket. Have you guys seen that? It's Blooket. It is like Kahoot and Gym Kit.
Wow.
It's so cool. It's real. I like it a lot better. The kids get to race each other. There's different options. We've actually been playing Blooket a lot this week with like nouns, verbs, grammar, reading comprehension, just like review stuff because I didn't want to introduce anything new, with testing next week.
Good review, sounds like.
Yes, it's been interesting to kind of see the different things. I think one of the most proud ones I was the Nearpod Pioneer, just because it's an application process. You have to get approved. Brain Pop, you have to go through like a 6-week course.
Yes.
And that's really cool. But then it stinks because we lost Brain Pop. Like we don't have access to it anymore. So like I'm a Brain Pop person, but we don't have access to it. Or like we didn't renew for this year. Vocabulary is a great one as well, because I love vocabulary. The only bad thing with so many of these programs that I have badges for is if you don't I know so many were free last year until because pandemic. If you don't have a paid subscription, you can't access some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Which stinks. Which I mean, I understand as well because they want to make money. But like you can't, a lot of the stuff on your pod you can't do unless you have a gold, like a premium subscription.
And Nearpod is kind of pricey. It's kind of up there.
I will say one of my favorite badges that I've ever gotten to do was the Screencastify, because I learned so much through that process of going through the little assignments that it was really cool. I want to learn more about WeVideo. I just haven't gone through that process. WeVideo seems awesome. I've played around with it, but I haven't.
It is very intuitive, and once I'm telling you, within 5, you just play around the they do have a tutorial section, and then
Yes.
they have free. And basically the only thing you cannot do in the free section is like a screencast. But there are other tools that you can use to do your screencast and then upload it and edit with it video. So,
Okay.
but it is, it was it's a great community too. Very, you'll see a lot of familiar names there, just because it's a great alternative to Adobe video editing if you don't have the Adobe Suite or something like that, because it's all online. There's nothing to install, and it does all its processing online, so you don't have to download and then upgrade and upload, and it's all done within WeVideo. So yeah, it's I think it's great.
I have 34. I just looked.
Oh.
Just counted them. That's a lot. And I don't even think I've got some more of the ones that I've recently gotten. I just haven't updated it.
So what was
the one that I really,
the latest badge you got? The most recent.
The latest, I became a Teach Better ambassador, but I haven't had a chance to put that one on there. So that would probably be the latest one. I need to finish my Steph Rainier Pod Trainer, which I've been seeking that one for a really long time. I submitted stuff, but it wasn't approved. So I have to go back. And so that one. But to me, my most favorite one is my Innovator. So.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
When do you get all the time?
When
do you get the time?
I don't know. I don't know. I honest to God have no. I don't know what I do. Because I just agreed. Before this year, I didn't coach anything. The last 2 years, I have helped coach middle school cheerleading. That's like a whole nother world, like competition cheerleading, and oh my God.
Wow.
I'm helping. If you saw my last tweet post, I just got a saber. I was a baton twirler for many, many years. I'm helping out with our color guard at the high school. They've like poached me for the last, she's been stalking me for 3 years. Been like, when you gonna come help? So my husband is a former marching band person from Alabama. So we're marching band people. So we actually just had auditions all week. I don't know. And I finished my gifted endorsement stuff. I don't know when I have time. I don't think I really sleep. Maybe that's what it is.
Shows how young you are.
I just sound like,
yes.
I don't feel that young. My birthday was this past week. I just turned 36, and getting down is not as easy getting back up as it used to be.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you. It was a good birthday. It was very calm, which I like.
Yeah.
We were able to go this time last year. We couldn't.
Right. Yeah, I do these personality quizzes sometimes, and they say you like a little bit of chaos, and then to get stress relief from the little bit of chaos, you tend to go toward more chaos. So that's I like to keep moving, that's for sure.
I think I love teaching, but I think I love doing all the ed tech stuff. I do, my school knows I present, my principal thinks I'm a nut. This is her first, she just literally became our principal, and the next day we went on went hybrid, or we went back, we did all the stuff from home. She's awesome. My principal before that has always been very supportive. But it's taken me a really long time to get to a school system where I feel accepted. Do you know what I mean? It's not like when you go to college, you think automatically you're just going to find a job and you're just going to be this really cutesy little teacher. I was not the cutesy little elementary school teacher. I tried. It didn't work out too well. So it's taken me a really long time to get to a place where I feel confident and I feel comfortable. And it helps when you have admin who are very supportive of that as well.
Yeah.
But I love speaking. My husband thinks I'm a nut. I love speaking and I love learning from other people. And I don't know, I just like talking and speaking in front of other people. But doing like the conferences is one of the hardest things sometimes, because when you see that Zoom call and you see those numbers go down, it like is
Yeah.
disheartening. Like when you think you start off with like 15 people and then you're done with like 7.
Yeah. It's
It's just
love, yeah. The first time I did one, I couldn't see participants, and I was just learning how to do the whole process, and all I could see was my presentation, and I didn't have anyone helping me saying, "Hey, you got a question?" or "Hey, 5 minutes left." So it was very isolating and very lonely, and that first experience was not anything I wanted to repeat. It's much more enjoyable when you have someone to bounce ideas off of and crack a joke with, or move on, or something like that. Yeah, it's a different feel presenting.
it is, and it's also disheartening when you apply to a conference and you think for sure you're going to get it and you don't.
Yeah.
Like you're like, well, why am I not good enough?
Yeah.
Like, or
Yeah.
there's so many people, because it's like in the last year, and I'm not saying like I'm an original, but it seems like in the last year there's like so many more people coming out with conferences and all this kind of stuff, which is cool. But I hope we get back to a place where we do face to face, because that to me is what
Yeah.
I'm excited. Like I got accepted to ITSE this year.
Ah,
It's not
awesome.
going to be face,
Congrats.
like I'm excited to do it. Thank you. I'm excited to do it, but it's virtual.
Yeah.
Like,
But
I just look a little
that's all they
disheartened.
can do. I mean, you're doing what you can do.
Yeah, and I was going to say, with your the amount of media, the podcasting, and you've done a lot of conferences, I think that is such a great portfolio you have got. It does get better, and you will do. And I believe that I believe things happen for a reason. And at the moment, that keynote conference speech you want to do isn't there yet. The right one could be in England, in London. Who knows?
Hey, I would go. My husband's like, do you want to just get paid? No, I think actually I got like, I mean, I'm sure y'all have experienced this where you really want something and you do it, and then you like, a really, really well-known ed tech person sent out a thing on the trainer to do,
Right for me.
like she was looking for trainers.
Yeah.
No, not even right for me. Like, and I've done that a couple of times, and that's been very cool. To see your name in like a published book, which is what sparks my interest in wanting to do a book. But even just like, hey, I'm looking for people to hire to be like subcontractors kind of thing. And it was just disheartening because like I made the second round, and I know my topic is not everybody cares about special ed. I get it. But like I'm not in a position to where I'm ed tech all the time. I'm just not. We don't have instructional technology. We just became 101 probably about 4 years ago. We're hopefully going to get there one day, and we do tech stuff. A friend and I put together a tech conference. This will be our second summer doing it for our district. We're getting there. Like,
That's great.
we're getting some good momentum. I didn't make it the third round, and as I kept thinking about the application, I mean, I can't leave my classroom to go train all day. I can't. I mean, if I go somewhere and I get paid to speak, I have to take a personal day. And I know there's a rhyme or a reason, but it was just kind of disheartening because I was like, I mean, I look cute and everything, like my hair was done. I'm just, but like, it's just disheartening because it's like the good and the bad. So, but in my head, I'm going, I know there's other people who are way more qualified than I am. This is like my second year trying to do like speaking and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I wish I could have gotten some feedback from somebody in her camp to be like, hey, this is what you need to do. You know what I mean? That would have just been really nice. And it probably didn't help that I was in my bathroom, because where my desk is my child's playroom. I wasn't like on the oh my God. I was where the door was behind me. Like you couldn't see
Yes.
anything.
It was quiet.
But like I
Yeah.
originally, when I started recording, like my background wasn't this, it was my daughter's playroom, and it looked like it had exploded. Like tornado. So I'm actually excited today. I plan on making my mother-in-law's former room into my office to where I can have like a white space behind me. I was just like, oh my God.
Awesome.
And then I tried to record somewhere else, and you just heard my husband talking, and I was like,
That's you, but yeah, but you are, I mean, that is so real. That is so, I'm in my dining room, but this is my 20th iteration of the best place in my house, and I have cords strung all out from my router to my computer. I've got extension cords. I'm using the dining room because it's my husband and I, we don't ever eat in here. So this is my studio on Saturday mornings. But I think that I really appreciate you just sharing that with us, and just be encouraged that this is just fodder for stories. When you're successful and you look back and you think, when I was just starting out. Oh, and that reminds me, I was going to say, you probably could contact them now and say, hey, I'm looking for some feedback. What do you think I can improve on for my next interview? And they'll probably remember you.
that's true. I did reach out to someone who, her name is Sue. Oh, I can't remember her last name. She is, she does a ton of stuff with Riker Learning. And I messaged her and I was like, hey girl, I need you to give me some tips. Like I need to know what to do different. And she had an honest conversation with me. She's like, you need to present every time you present, it's like a job interview. Sorry guys, this morning was not one of those mornings where I presented myself very pretty. This is reality. This is Saturday morning with a 3-year-old. Saturday morning, right. Just trying to catch up on life. But like what it needs to be. And it was like uplifting, like one of these conversations where you talk and you're like, okay, maybe I am doing the right thing. I'm not crazy to think that I want to pursue something like this. I don't think I want to leave the classroom. I have no desire to pursue something completely full-time. I enjoy being in the classroom. I also think as a content person, it gives me more depth because I know what's happening in the classroom. But now I say that, and I don't do Teachergram because I love Twitter. Twitter to me is my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
I think Twitter is easier. I'm not cute enough to do Teachergram. I don't know how to do all that stuff. I watch TikTok. I don't do TikTok. Although I have caught myself doing some of the dances, like in my classroom. Huh?
Just be good at one thing, or maybe two. You don't have to be good at all of it.
Have y'all ever watched TikTok? I'm telling you, some of those sounds are super funny.
That's like, what, you think you're going to start watching one video and 20 minutes later, you've just wasted your time.
We call that the time traveler effect. It's a time traveler. It takes you straight into the future.
There was a sound effect that somebody had. It was like, oh no, I don't want to get thrown. I'm going to behave myself. And I told that to my kids one day. I said, that's what you need to think when you make a choice. No, I'm going to behave myself. They're calling Miss Reed, you need to stop.
Fantastic.
Like, you watch TikTok? Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I was going to say, as we are nearly coming up to the end of time, what's one piece of advice would you give to the future innovators that I will be applying?
I think and I actually had this conversation with someone. I think you just have to really think about what you are confident with and what you are concerned with, because somebody else is going to think that that's important. Like, I didn't think collaboration in the classroom would have got me chosen, but it is an issue that's not really, it's talked about, but it's not, you know what I mean? Like it's, just being honest and open in that application. And that one application needs to be reviewed like 35 times. Like, I can't tell you how many people I reached out on Twitter. And even in my own like school system, I was like, well, of course, my principal knew I was applying because I had to have her blessing. And she straight up, if I write something on Twitter, she tells me, you need to fix this. It's like wrong grammar.
That's good. That's good.
And which I love because we have that relationship. Any of that type of stuff that you think is so important, if you feel the desire for it, you know, make a video. If you don't get chosen, I think there is somebody on there. His name is Han something, and I can't remember. But he looked at my application. He applied 5 times before he got chosen.
Yeah.
I mean, and this past year was so ridiculous because it was the virtual one, and so many people applied. And there were so
like
many
400.
good ones, like so many. Yes, and so I mean, like, you can't, just because they only had like 40-something spots, you can't give up. Now, I don't know how I got picked the first time. I really don't. I think I just lucked out. I'm hoping they get to do the in-person again, because that's like the best part. Like, my team, because you're split up into like separate teams. My team was Team Happy Hour. They're some of my absolute favorite people I've ever met, and I will definitely keep in contact with them. You know, like if I have something going on, they knew about the flood. You know, I mean, we still have a group Google chat going from my innovator group. And it's just, I mean, there's just so many cool things that you get to do. It's just don't be disheartened if you don't get it the first time.
Right.
So
fantastic.
That's how Sandy and I
if that
met.
makes sense.
2017.
Okay.
At our innovator. Yeah.
Okay. I thought that. Okay. Very cool. What group were y'all in?
Stockholm, Sweden 17. So 2017.
See, it's amazing. Like, y'all know it's amazing. It's like the coolest thing you get to do. But if you don't get it the first time, it's okay. What were y'all's projects?
Mine was a teacher agency and professional development, where then it was called G Suite for Me, which is now blown out of the water. Not as alliterative, but just teachers allowing teachers the choice in their professional development.
Mine was like having like a word bank ready for teachers who were marking work on on Google Documents. So you have a word bank and for feedback, because every time it was like the same feedback, paragraphs, spellings, grammar. You're doing the same thing to like 30 kids at a time in the classroom. So that was mine at that time. But yeah, things evolved, and now this is our project.
Yeah, this is our current one.
Very cool. Very cool.
But Jessica, it was really nice to have you on our show. It's really nice to meet you. We feel so honored that you have taken time out of your morning and shared it with us. Thank you to all our listeners who are listening as well. You can always follow us at chatwsk1 on Twitter, and you can listen to our podcasts on Apple, on Anchor, and Google Play.
And we'll put all the links for Jessica Reed's website and some of the tech tools that she mentioned. We'll put them all in the show notes. All right. Thank you again.
Bye.